Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Doing good.
So today we are talking about the El Artista Pulita 60 Aniversario Robusto. That's kind of a mouthful, but 5-inch by 50 ring gauge comes out of the Tabacalera El Artista factory in the Dominican Republic. The wrapper is Negrito, and the binder is Dominican Criollo 98. Filler is from the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Colombia, and Pennsylvania. Blended by Juan Almonte and Ramon Jimenez. Price point is $12.20, and the cigar was released in August of 2016. So, June, with that out of the way, what is your pre-light experience like?
I thought the wrapper had a very oily sheen, medium brown Colorado Claro wrapper. Really pretty wrapper in general. But the cigar felt lumpy with a bunch of like minor veins that's protruding. Bunch and roll, firm, practically no give. Given that, I was hoping no issues with the draw. Head finish off with a very shallow triple cap. With that, I was hoping, well, this thing better not crack when I cut it. So in terms of the nosing experience, wrapper, wet earth, and barnyard. Full disclosure, it was raining when I smoked the cigar, so probably where the wet earth came from. But anyway, smell of the foot, floral perfume, very balanced white pepper and dried nuts, and cold draw, wet cedar, subtle white pepper, and dried nuts. So all in all, a good pre-light experience.
Yeah, the wrapper was like medium brown with some darker marbling on it. There were a few small veins that were visible, and the seams were pretty much invisible. There were three very well applied caps. The band was very classic looking, kind of a mix of red, white, pink, and gold. It was very simple, but I thought it was pretty attractive. The aroma from the wrapper was a mix of barnyard leather and a fairly sweet hay, and the aroma from the foot was a bit of a mild hay. And the pre-light draw brought a pretty sweet hay along with a little spicy tingle to my lips. So flavor-wise, for first third through final third, what was your experience like?
Starting from the first third, initial inch off the first third, it's very heavily hay and red pepper flake driven. The pepper weighs heavy on the tip of the tongue, and also that there's a dry charred oak and dry minerality that joined the profile. Past that inch mark, that pepper backs off a bit, and dry nuts enter. The retro is pretty heavily laced with black pepper and dry nuts. Finishes medium in length and consists of charred oak and dry minerality. Body medium, strength somewhere between that medium full range. Moving on to the second third. The second third is driven by mainly hay, charred oak, and dry minerality, with the backbone of that red pepper flake. I got this like really nice bright cherry that started coming in and out within the first third in an intermittent fashion, but unfortunately, it was just on and off instead of being a consistent flavor. Retro, still the same thing. Strong black pepper, dry nuts. Finish is no longer medium in length, but it's pretty drawn out and long, with that same charred oak and dry minerals. Body stays at that medium mark, and strength no longer kind of teeters between medium full. It's a consistent medium full. Moving on to the last third. Last third becomes more wood and spice focused, with specifically that charred oak, dry minerals, and red pepper flakes. The retro is still the same thing. Intense black pepper, dried nuts. Finish still really lasting with the charred oak, charred bitterness, and like a very layered kind of a red pepper flake going on. Body strength unchanged, being medium in body and medium full in strength. So, yep, that's my overall.
For me, the initial draws brought like a pretty sweet cedar with a peppery finish. After a few draws, that pepper kind of moves forward from the finish and pushed out the sweetness and became even with the cedar. And the retro was like a very peppery cedar. At a half inch in, the pepper settled back down and the cedar was more up front. And then after a few more draws, some cream joined in with the cedar up front while a little bit of pepper was in the background. Then at an inch in, the pepper completely left the profile, just kind of leaving that creamy cedar note. And the retrohale was just cedar. And as the third came to a close, the cream receded a bit with the cedar up front. And the strength in the first third was just below medium for me. And then getting into the second third, the profile continues with that cedar up front and some cream in the background. And then at a half-inch in, some mintiness joined in with the cedar and the slight cream. And then after a few draws, the cream really ramped up, and it kind of became even with the cedar, and that mintiness note kind of remained how it was. And then at an inch in, the profile gained a bit of meatiness to kind of go along with that creamy cedar and slight mintiness. Retrohale also kind of carried that meatiness along with the cedar. And then as the third was coming to a close, smoke was really meaty and chewy and kind of carried that creamy cedar and slight mintiness with it. And the strength was right at medium. And then getting into the final third, cedar moves up front, creaminess was in the background, and the mintiness had left the profile. And at half an inch in, the cream kind of came back even with the cedar. The retrohale was also an even mix of the cedar and the cream. And then the inch in, the mintiness returned as the cigar began to heat up a little bit. Smoke still had that kind of meaty, chewy makeup with a creamy cedar note. And that's kind of the profile that the cigar finished out with. And strength in the final third was just slightly above medium. So getting into performance for burn and draw, what was your experience like?
Really good burn, offset by pretty crappy draw. So in terms of burn, very good. Smoking time, hour and 47 minutes, really good. Burn line sharp, ashes head on tight, average 1 inch ashes head I self-tapped. In terms of the draw, so this is where it really failed. So when I was talking about the pre-light experience of that cap being really shallow, so when I cut on that cap, a split happened that went through all the way to the band, which is about I think like an inch and a half or so way through.
Right.
And that caused every time I took a draw, there was airflow that was coming through that crack,
right,
as well as smoke coming out of it. When I was setting the cigar down in between draws. So that was super annoying. And half the time I had to hold it so I'm freaking smoking like a roach or something, like a freaking
like you're playing a flute.
Yeah, something like that. That sounds better than smoking a joint. That's a fat freaking joint, by the way. That's a joint. But hopefully your construction experience was better than mine. So.
Yeah, burn was pretty straight through the first half. Then in the second half, half the wrapper didn't want to burn, so I needed to do kind of 2 touch-ups, one in the kind of second half of the second third, and then kind of getting in the beginning of the final third. Ash held on in like 1.25 inch increments. So that was pretty good. In regards to the draw, definitely had a better experience than you did. I didn't have any cracks in the wrapper from cutting it. Draw was perfect through the first 2/3 and kind of tightened up a bit in the final third. But otherwise, like I said, it was good for 2/3 of the way through. So overall, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
I thought it was an average cigar. I feel like the cigar for me was blended more towards strength and not a whole ton of complexity of flavors. And this coupled by that really crappy draw that I had was just overall mediocre experience. I was expecting a lot or more than this experience, given that when I read like Aniversario and 60th Aniversario, but
Right.
It was more of an average experience for me.
Yeah, the cigar had some nice flavors to present, and the smoke was, very meaty and chewy, which kind of was a nice addition for me. Strength level was kind of right around medium the entire way, so approachable to most smokers. My understanding is that this cigar is supposed to be a reblend of a cigar that was out many, many years ago. So they were trying to kind of recreate that blend. And I think, I can kind of see some similarities with, trying to, match up with an older blend. I think I did. I think I definitely had a different experience than you did. And a lot of yours might have been just kind of how you had that crack in the wrapper and the draw and all that kind of stuff. But, I thought this was a pretty enjoyable cigar, and I would definitely revisit this one. And with how meaty and chewy the smoke was, I think that this would be a really nice cigar to have like after a big or heavy meal, and probably pair really well with like a a brown spirit of some sort, so like a bourbon or something, whiskey or something like that. So definitely something that I would revisit. So getting into the scores, I gave it a 6.53. You gave it a 5.40. How do you think that matches up with your experience?
I think of that as overall average experience in terms of the first, second, and third. So I rated it, average, good, and average.
Mm-hmm.
Second, third, of course, being my favorite part. And what really hurt the score is that draw. I rated a subpar draw, whereas the burn was really good. So if it would have been a draw, it would have been a lot closer to that 6 range, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, the draw is it is what it is.
Yeah, it matches up well. I mean, I rated it good for the first 2/3 and then average for the final third. And I just rated the burn good because I had to do a couple relights on it. I mean, touch-ups on it. If the burn was a little bit better, this would even score better. I mean, it might be getting close to the 7 category. So I really enjoyed this cigar. It's definitely something I'd like to try again. And I'd like to have you try it again too, just to see if you get if it doesn't crack on you on the cut, and if you get a better experience that way. But definitely something I enjoyed. I wasn't sure what to expect from the cigar. Because it was supposed to be like I said, a reblend. So I wasn't sure if somebody would be successful doing that or not. Because sometimes there's always an attempt to do that, and one is you don't know what the original was, which I don't know on this, but to me it just felt like it was trying to capture something, and it was close to doing that. So, any other final thoughts from you?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. If you're just catching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also go to the website, developingpalates.com, to read the full written review. Follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, and all of our recaps can also be caught on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.